information or share things about PISA, specifically about speaking skills. Madam Adeline, are you here? Oh, okay, she's here already. Welcome to this online workshop.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good. Hi.
Okay, madam. I leave you can start straight away.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Yaya.
Okay, thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. Okay, welcome again to the P-Self Cascading workshop. Earlier on, Mr. Yaya said he will give you about 1 or 2 minutes for a short break. Okay. So in the meantime, I think I'll just introduce myself. I'm Adeline. I'm from Kuching, Sarawak, and currently I'm teaching in SMK Bau, somewhere in Kuching, and I'm also the examiner for speaking for MUAT. Okay. So today is my turn to brief you on the next content of the curriculum framework, which is on speaking. Okay, so over the next 1 hour, okay, hopefully it'll be less than that. I know it's already afternoon and most of us are very hungry already. So I hope over the next 1 hour we will look into the speaking elements of the curriculum framework, and I will cover only on the essential parts of the document. Okay, hopefully all of you, will leave today with at least, an in-depth understanding and valuable insights of what PSEF is all about, and specifically for this law that is for speaking. All right, so shall we begin? Okay, so I'm just going to, hang on, switch off my video first because I need to share this. Okay, can you see clearly? Yes, just tell me yes. If you do have any question throughout this slot, just shout out. I can't read the comment section, okay? Just let me know. So I'll just stop for a while and answer your question, okay? Okay, right. So here are the 3 contents that I will cover for speaking. Okay, so these are all the standards in the P-Self document that you need to be familiar with before you can finally implement it in your school. Okay, so I'll be explaining these 3 elements: the content standards, the learning standards, and also the performance standards for speaking, right? Okay, next slide. Right, now, before we move to the content standard first, it is good to know the focus for speaking, okay, the standard for speaking. There are 2 focuses here. The first one, students' ability to interact with a degree of fluency and spontaneity with others. Okay, so that's the first focus for speaking of the content standards. And the second focus will be to use appropriate communication strategies when speaking alone to a small or large group. So these are the 2 focuses for the content standards for speaking. Right, what are they? Now let's look at the content standards and the learning standards for speaking. Now, for your information, there are 3 content standards for speaking. Okay, the first one will be 2.1, the second one will be 2.2 and 2.3. So for each of these content standards, there are 6 learning standards under 2.1, another 6 learning standards for 2.2, and 5 learning standards for 2.3. So altogether, there are 17 learning standards for speaking. Okay, now the order in which the content and learning standards appear, it does not reflect a chronological sequence of learning, which begins with 2.11 and ends with 2.35. Means in the Form 6 scheme of work, these learning standards will appear not in sequence of their numbers, but more on how important these standards need to be taught to students throughout the 3 semesters. So students need to develop these skills simultaneously, okay, over the academic year, and will learn from opportunities, to practice different speaking skills in their English lesson, okay. Now, the three content standards for speaking, as I've mentioned earlier. The first one, 2.1, okay, exchange personal or factual information. Now, it's good to know that these content standards, like I said just now, it focus on what students should know, understand, also what they should be able to do within their studying period, that is throughout Form 6, okay, in the 3 semester. So in other words, these 3 content standards, these are the goals, and expected achievements that should be achieved by the end of the student's post-secondary education. Now for speaking, 2.1, exchange personal or factual information, this one focuses more on the production side, while 2.2 and 2.3, they are more on the interaction side of speaking. Okay, so there are 3 altogether content standards for speaking, 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3. Now, how are we going to achieve these big goals, that is these content standards? By teaching all these 17 learning standards for speaking. Okay, so learning standards, basically they are just concise objectives, that students are expected to know, and they should be able to do, like I said just now, at a particular stage of their Form 6. Okay, so this set of criteria or indicators for learning and achievements, they can be measured, for each of the 3 content standards, which I've shown you earlier, okay, for speaking. All right. Now, these 17 standards should be mastered by students at the end of Form 6. Should. Try your best, to at least now teach all these skills under these learning standards. Now, you can start off with the lower learning standards, or those under the B1 or B1 plus level, and then you can move forward to B2 or C1 level of learning standards as the semester progresses. So there are 17 all of these altogether under the 3 content standards. Okay. Now let's look at the next slide. Now we'll go through one by one on all these learning standards for each of these content standards. Now, the first learning standards for content standards 2.1 for speaking. For your information, these are taken from the CF document, the one that you have right now. Most of you, I think you do have the document right in front of you. I hope you have a copy, and you can refer to this document, as I show and explain them to you, okay? So 2.1.1, give clear, detailed descriptions on a wide range of subjects related to one's field of interest. Now, keyword here would be related subjects which are related to students' field of interest. It can be a special interest or subject of study, which students like to talk about. You can start off with that first. For example, maybe topic on travel or sports or entertainment, something like that, which that they are interested in. So for these learning standards, I would recommend you to start teaching them how to use descriptive language, okay? In order for them to provide better and detailed explanation of, the topic that they are explaining, all right? So teach them how to use descriptive language effectively for this learning standard. Okay? For 2.1.3, give a clear, systematically developed presentation with highlighting of significant points and relevant supporting detail. Okay? Now, this learning standard, it focuses on developing students' ability to deliver presentation with clarity, okay, clearly, with coherence, and also with very impactful supporting details. So this means you need to at least expose your student on the most basic, what do you call that, speaking skill, that is how to organize their points. Okay, you can start off by teaching them how to come up with a good and clear introduction, a well-defined body, you know, and which include some supporting details, and also teach them how to provide a very concise and good conclusion in a presentation. Okay, so this learning standard focuses on that. Also, you may also teach them how to use maybe visual aids or other kinds of techniques to make the important points stand out. Okay, teach them how to use examples or statistics, on how to show evidence in their presentation. All right, when they speak. So this learning standard focuses on that. Okay, 2.1.3. Now 2.1.4, deliver announcements and on most general topics with a degree of clarity, fluency, and spontaneity. Again, I would suggest for this learning standard, you need to drill your student, okay, on how to deliver announcement clearly and effectively. Get them to practice in front of everyone how to deliver and maintain a steady flow of presentation. Okay, teach them how to speak without hesitation, with practice, with drillings, and also let them practice on how to deliver announcement without relying heavily on scripts or notes, because our students are most of them are quite weak in this. So I think throughout some of the lessons, you can try to drill them, practice. Start with a big note, a long notes, and then as the time progresses, you can reduce the amount, maybe the size of the notes, that script that they need to refer to as time goes by, and then from there you can check whether they meet that learning standard or not. Okay, so that's for 2.1.4. Okay, now for 2.1.5, communicate detailed information reliably. Okay, for this, we need to expose our students on how to give accurate and precise information. Teach them, how to avoid vague information, how not to give misleading statements, some general statements which are quite misleading. Tell them that these are not the right way to deliver information reliably. Okay, perhaps you can use this one particular technique, which is also for writing. If you are quite familiar with the TEEL technique, or in some books they are like it's written as MEEL, that those acronyms, teach them how to organize their points first, and then when they present their points, make sure that they elaborate and explain them with correct examples, okay, correct evidence, in order to strengthen their points. Okay, so that's 2.1.5. Okay, Now, moving on to 2.1.6, describe the personal significance of events and experiences in detail. Now, for these learning standards, it is hoped that students will be able to communicate their personal experiences, authentically, making sure that their presentation more impactful, uh, uh, more engaging to the audience. Okay, and how do you do this? 2.1.6, you can focus on, or again, teach them how to use descriptive language. Okay, for example, expand their vocabulary with the use of adjectives, or maybe metaphors or similes, and teach them how to articulate their thoughts and feelings by providing detailed or vivid description of their experiences. Or you can ask them to start sharing stories in front of the class, or something like maybe you can call randomly on some students, let them share their what they did during the weekend or during the holiday. Ask them to explain some important events in their lives, and sharing this information with the classroom. It can be in the form of impromptu, but it can also be in the form of like you assign tasks for them. Make sure that you give them turns, to present it to the class. All right. So also don't forget to teach them the basic, what do you call that? How to present their points in a more organized manner. Okay. How to link their points, how to link their ideas. So for this, you need to teach them all those basic like cohesive devices, all the linking words. They need to be exposed to this as well. So that would come under 2.16. All right. And then next will be 2.1.8. 2.1.8, understand in detail what is said to one in the standard spoken language. I find that this learning standard is interesting, because from this learning standard, I think we can engage our students in a more fun lesson, fun activity. For example, you can, in order for them to be exposed to standard spoken language, I think you can get them to watch videos on talks or interviews or conversation or dialogues in YouTube, especially in native language. Expose them to the Malaysian context, talks or interview, as well as TV shows or from UK or US, so that they are are familiar with this native language from each of these countries. So from here also, you can expose them to, not expose, to train them, okay, how to use, what do you call that, vocabulary, okay, how to recognize words in spoken language, the words or phrases which are commonly used in standard spoken language, right? Get them to recognize common idioms or expressions, familiarize themselves with these common idioms, expressions, or figurative language, which are often used in spoken discourse, okay? Get them to be familiar with this. And you can also, for this learning standard, you can teach your students how to paraphrase and summarize messages, okay, and then practice it in spoken form. Okay, so that's for 2.1.8. So if you notice, the focus written here, okay, now the language focus for this speaking also comes from the test specifications from WET. Okay, now these skills, if you notice, these skills are needed also, okay, for the exam purpose. And then for this content standard, The focus is more on expressing opinions, okay? Give reasons, elaborating, justifying, summarizing, and concluding. That's for part one individual presentation. Because students need to present on certain topics and point of view by giving relevant details and information to support their ideas. So in a way, these learning standards also do help students to prepare themselves for the speaking test. Besides exposing and teaching them to these, some of these are new skills, new standards. Okay, which we may, it's not that we have never done it before in the class, but maybe we have overlooked that, the importance of these standards. So I think it's about time that we expose our students to these learning standards. Okay, so these are for content standard 2.1. Okay, right. Now let's move to 2.2 content standard. Okay, altogether there are 6 learning standards under 2.2.2. Okay, so 2.2 is discuss reasons, preferences, and opinions. Okay, now in the context of speaking, students are expected to express their thoughts. When we see the word discuss here, okay, so they are expected to express their thoughts, their opinions, and insights on some given topics, while providing some relevant examples. Okay, so the focus skills involved in effective discussion, they are actually reflected in these 6 learning standards under 2.2. Okay, now let's look at 2.2.1. Basically, this learning standard teaches students how to organize their ideas, okay, or arguments logically. So if you see here, develop a clear argument, expand and support one's point of view at some length with subsidiary points and relevant examples. Now, so what activities that can be done for these learning standards? You can teach your students, again, the basic introduction, main points, in conclusion in a presentation. Teach them to use transitional phrases to connect ideas, okay? Use evidences, examples in order to get them to, integrate all this information in their speech. Emphasize on the importance of using evidence and examples, okay, in order to provide a more credible argument here. So for 2.2.1. Okay. Next 2.2. Oh yeah, by the way, this one 2.2.1. The focus here is more on justifying. Yeah. Okay, justifying points. All right. And so again, this is a useful technique for web speaking tests as well. Okay. 2.2.2. Give a clear, prepared presentation, giving reasons in support of or against a particular point of view, and giving the advantages and disadvantages of various options. Now 2.2.2, this one focuses on the techniques of persuasion and argumentation. So get your students to be involved in activities like maybe forum or talk or even a debate in the classroom, a mini debate. Okay, you can also get them to watch some talk videos, get them to learn or copy the techniques on how to present advantages and disadvantages of various options related to any topic. Okay, so expose them with this kind of activity. All right. 2.2.3, explain a viewpoint on a topical issue, giving the advantages and disadvantages of various options. This one also, you need to teach students the argumentative skills, okay, in order to produce a clear main idea, and also how to produce supporting evidence with some logical reasoning. So that's for 2.2.3. Okay? Now, 2.2.4, summarize and give his or her opinion about a short story, article, talk, discussion interview, or documentary and answer further questions of detail. Now, for this learning standard, maybe before students are about to engage in that, that giving opinion on certain short story or article, you need to teach your student first summarizing skills. Okay, teach them how to extract key points first from short story or article or talk or discussion, and teach them how to paraphrase and rephrase information. Then only they will be able to summarize and give their opinion well. Okay, for short stories or article or discussion interview or any kind of documentary after they watch or read. Okay, so you can design some activities that target these learning standards, such as again, you can get your students to summarize talks. If you're familiar with TED Talk, you can introduce them to this TED Talk, or they can discuss a short story, okay, the theme of a short story, and they can give their opinions on maybe some current issues, okay, give them a few articles or newspaper scripts and so on, give to them and let them give their opinion on these issues, okay. And at the same time, can also teachers can provide feedbacks and opportunities for your students to develop their speaking skills effectively. Okay, so for this I would also what do you call it, encourage maybe peer discussions, okay, a mini debate, all right, among your students in the classroom. So 2.2.4, that's the learning standard, okay? So these some of the activities outlined just now, right? So 2.2.5, outline an issue or a problem clearly, speculating about causes or consequences and weighing, all right? Consequences and something is missing here, and weighing advantages and disadvantages of different approaches. I'm very sorry. Over here, 2.2.5, outline an issue or a problem clearly, speculating about causes or consequences, and weighing advantages and disadvantages of different approaches. Okay, for this, again, this would involve critical thinking a bit, for this learning standard, because students need to develop their ability to think about a given issue or problem. Okay, they need to know how to speculate about causes or consequences of issues. They need to know how to consider perspectives, okay, from the writers, or analyze certain topic or issues from different angles. So for this, critical thinking is important here, okay, in order for you to execute these learning standards to your students. Get them to practice how to outline an issue or problem. Give them an activity, for example, you create an issue, okay, and then get them to create a clear outline of the issue. Get them to do pair work, discuss among each other, and let them analyze causes or consequences of certain topics, and then let them know how to identify the pros and cons of various solutions to the issue or problem discussed. So this is quite heavy for 2.2.5 here. So I think this would need more, you need to frequently teach this learning standard in your lesson plan throughout those 3 semesters, maybe a repetitive of 2.2.5 throughout, okay? If you find that this learning standard is useful and also maybe a little bit heavy for your students, so yeah, drillings would be necessary for these learning standards. Okay. Now 2.2.6 is express one's ideas and opinions with precision, present and respond to complex lines of argument questions. Now, this learning standards is very useful for part 2 for the MOET exam, okay, MOET speaking test, part 2, that is the group discussion, because they need to express ideas and opinions, okay, with a clarity and coherence here. Now, if you are familiar with the assessment criteria for speaking, especially two of the criteria, there is IC, interactive communication, and TD, okay, topic development. So these two criteria, you need to look at students' ability to widen the topic and also to develop their ideas, not only their own ideas, but also other people's ideas. So this learning standard is useful, okay, important for this requirement for the MOET speaking, okay, for group discussion. So engage your student in maybe like basic debates on some general topics, and engage them in many kinds of speaking activities which allow them to express viewpoints, with basic reasonings, so that they are able to present their arguments, again with the knowledge of how to provide examples and evidence. They can support their arguments by using this technique, okay? And also from there, they can respond, adaptly to maybe some challenging questions or counter arguments during the discussion. So yeah, this learning standard is very, very important also. It's very useful, okay, for them. All right? So that's 2.2.6. Now let's move to the last content standard for speaking, that is 2.3. Manage and contribute to group discussion. This content standard also focuses more on the aspect of managing and involving someone in the discussion. I hear something here. Hang on. Anyone raise hand? Okay, someone raise hand. Sorry, because my screen is covered. Okay, yes. Gloria, you want to ask any question? Gloria M. What about Arasu? Question? Oh, okay, it's all right. So I shall continue, okay? All right. Go back to my presentation. Can you see my slide now? Because I keluar just now. Can,
Yes.
All right. So back to content standard 2.3. Okay, manage and contribute to group discussion. So what are the skills needed for this? Now, if you look at the focus here, okay, for 2.3, the focus will be more on initiating, okay, prompting, negotiating, turn taking, and interrupting. So basically, we all know this content standard, okay, meets the criteria for the test specs for group discussion, okay, part 2 for the word speaking test, okay. Now let's look at 2.3.1. There are 5 learning standards, okay, under this content standard. First one is 2.3.1, engage in extended conversation on most general topics in a clear and participatory fashion, 2.3.1. So what does it mean here? So students need to engage themselves in conversation. Make sure that these skills are involved also listening and responding, okay, in order for them to come up with an interactive conversation. They need to be taught on how to respond appropriately to questions, statements, okay? Teach them these skills and you can show videos also on some, what do you call that, videos on speaking, okay? On maybe discussion between two people or a forum and so on. Show them and let them learn from these videos, okay? Get them to, from this video, it is hoped that, they can gain some confidence on how to start, okay? How to start a discussion and also how to maintain the conversation over some topics discussed, all right? Get them to actively participate and not rely, solely on one person, or not, waiting for prompts, okay? In order, get them to become the moderator once in a while in order to lead the discussion. So I would say this one also is very important for the what do you call that, MOAT speaking test for group discussion, okay? They need to know how to be active in the discussion. Teach them also, don't forget to teach them also how to use proper body language techniques, okay, in a discussion or even in a presentation, how to use appropriate gestures or maybe facial expressions, in order to show their interest in the conversation, all right? So these are some practices and drillings that you can teach your student, in the classroom for this learning standards. Now the next one, 2.3. Called it 2.3.2. Again, it's the same thing. You need to teach them how to be active in a participation. Maybe I would suggest for this 2.3.2, you need to tell them the importance of these two assessment criteria for speaking for the group discussion. That is the IC, okay? IC is interactive communication, and also the DM, okay? The discourse management. Tell them it's important to have these skills, to how to contribute ideas and or opinions, how to ask questions during the conversation, how to be proactive in a discussion, okay? In order to come up with a very effective communication. Other than that, you can also teach them to use appropriate language or, tones, in order to convey their point of views. Be aware on how to use body language and facial expressions as well, as I mentioned earlier for the 2.3.1 just now, okay? Teach them for, these skills, okay? How to engage in turn taking instead of just taking their turns, taking their turns and wait for people to prompt them. Teach them how to interrupt and how to do proper turn takings during a discussion, okay? So that's for 2.3.2. Now for 2.3.3, you need to teach your students for this, sustain one's opinions in discussion by providing relevant explanation, arguments, and comments. Now for this learning standard, do teach them also how to use appropriate linkers, okay, in order to help them to convey logical reasoning and in order to provide evidence, so that their presentation will be more coherent and more organized, okay? Teach them phrases, all these logical phrases, like for instance, when to introduce evidence, okay? They can use phrases like for instance, or to illustrate. The basic will be, of course, for example. Teach them how to use phrases to show contrasting ideas. Like however, on the other hand, all these, the common phrases that you need in a discussion or in a presentation. Okay, how to use furthermore, moreover, how to use similarly or likewise to show, comparison or similarity. So these are important as well. Okay, 2.3.3. Okay, 2.3.4. Carry out effective fluent interview, departing spontaneously from prepared questions, following up and probing interesting replies. Okay, now for this, I think the main activity for this would be to carry out interviews. Okay, it can be in the form of pair work or in a group. Okay, carry out this activity so that students are exposed to this learning standard. They need to be taught how to be spontaneous and flexible in their presentation or in the discussion. Okay, make sure they know how to respond to interview questions well. Okay, also it's a good practice also, if you do interview with them, so that they know how to conduct interviews with confidence. This is very important also, in preparing them for the working world in the future. Definitely they have to attend certain interviews, how to engage in questions, Q&A with people. All right. Also, if you want to make it fun or interactive, you may involve the social media. Okay, use the internet, get them to watch certain videos from YouTube as well. Okay, practice this in the classroom. All right. Next would be 2.3.5, the last one. Okay. Now 2.3.5 is easily follow and contribute to complex interactions in group discussion in complex, unfamiliar topic. The keyword here, of course, is complex, unfamiliar topic. So this is slightly higher level a bit. Now, this learning standard is a bit high level for them. I would suggest you to carry out more often, these learning standards in your class, because you need to expose your student to how to engage in conversations about unfamiliar or complex topics, because this can be challenging for them, but it's a great way to expand their knowledge and improve their communication skills. All right, but in order to do this, I would also suggest, before you start getting your students to engage in this activity, teach them also how to do research and how to prepare for their presentation. Okay, involve them in activities that enable them to gather information from reliable sources such as books or articles, research papers, or some reputable websites. Okay, and then get them to practice how to choose topics, because the keyword here is complex, unfamiliar topics. Just be careful not to choose too sensitive or complex topics, maybe something that's current, or something like human rights, or something that's quite unfamiliar with them. Okay, gender inequality, maybe fintech, financial technology, something new, or even mental health issues. I know it's common, but then maybe for some students it's still something new for them and quite unfamiliar. So you get them to, do a research on this topic. Choose the topics wisely. Then only once they get to get more information on these topics, from there you can teach them how to what do you call it? Use certain terms, okay? Some complex words, all right? In order for them to what do you call this? Explain or deliver their idea well, okay? Use some other communicating techniques, like, what do you call it? Engage in Q&A, okay? Visual aids as well, all right? You can use diagrams or charts or slides to illustrate points and so on, all right? So that's for 2.3.5. So basically, I've covered all of these 17 learning standards. Okay, I've explained them to you, and I've also suggested some kinds of activities that you can carry out in your classroom, okay, in order to fulfill all these 3 content standards for speaking throughout the 3 semesters for your Form 6 students. Okay, before I move to the next section, that is performance standards, are there any questions? One, do you have any questions? Or maybe I just carry on with that? It's already 1 o'clock. I promise to deliver this within 1 hour. Now, if you do not have any questions, I think I shall continue. Okay, all right.
Absolutely.
Sorry?
What's the second year?
Yeah?
Hello?
Hello, yes.
No, let's just continue.
Okay, let's
Thank
continue.
you.
Okay. All right. So performance standards for speaking. Earlier on, Madam Doreen explained to you on the performance standards for listening. So I'll be showing you the 6 performance levels for speaking. Okay. Now, there are also 6 performance levels for speaking. Okay. For the I'll start off with the 3 levels first. The first 3 level, then I'll move to the next 4, 5, 6 level. Okay. So the first 3 level now, with level 1 is the lowest. Okay. While level 6 is the highest in the performance standard. Now these rubrics, they're actually designed to assist you. Okay. Now the descriptors here are here to help you, for those who wish to do assessment with their students. So we hope that, by giving you all these descriptors, you are able to perform certain kind of assessment with your students, okay, based on this 6 performance levels for speaking. Okay, I'm talking about speaking here today, okay, right? So now, what kind of assessment you can have, like in-class assessment, okay, maybe peer assessment. Use it as a benchmark, okay, or point of reference in order for you to evaluate your students. All right. Now, how do you measure, okay, the performance standard? Well, you can measure students' performance standards in many ways. You can use homeworks, okay? You can use quizzes or exams or reports or, projects or oral performances with them, okay? And by using these descriptors to help you, you can, identify each of your students' level of performance, all right? Now, for level 1, now, performance standard level 1, okay, this is an entry level, okay? Basically, in order for you to identify whether your student is a level 1 or not, these are the indicators or the descriptors. The keyword here, of course, is almost the same one with listening just now. Can give simple description on a range of subjects with a lot of support, okay? Can provide opinions and topical issues with a lot of support, and can participate in informal or formal discussion in familiar context with a lot of support using appropriate language. So basically, like I said just now, this is an entry level, okay? Assume that, those in primary school who are new to present and speaking, this is the level where, we, a starting level for them, all right? So this is performance level number 1. You need a lot of support here. It can be in any form, with the help of scripts or with the help of promptings from teachers and so on. See whether your students are at this level or not by using this descriptor, okay? Performance standard 2, basically, this is under, if it is under CFR, it will be A2 to B1 level, okay? Now, students at this level, you normally will see a lot of them, especially in the early semesters, okay? Maybe in the early part of the semester, if you run some diagnostic tests with them, if they happen to be under this level, okay, don't worry about it. It simply indicates that maybe they are on track, going towards level 3, okay? They're just about to, progress to level 3. So with these descriptors, okay, you may identify whether they are under level 2 or not, okay? Can give description on a range of subject with some support. Again, you see the word here with here. Level 1 is a lot. Here is some, okay? These are the words, that indicate their level, okay? Can provide opinions and reasons on topical issues with some support, can participate in formal or informal discussion in familiar context with some support using appropriate language. Maybe the language used are, just basic A2 to B1 levels, okay? The kinds of vocabs that they use, okay, to explain the topics, okay? They are quite low level here. All right. Now, performance level 3. Now, performance level 3 is, for your information, level 3 is the expectation of the curriculum target, okay, of PSELF. Now, if students are at level 3, it simply means that they have reached the targeted level, that is B2, okay? For your information, the bigger portions of our students are at this level, okay, at B2 level. So it is our job to, as we teach all the learning standards throughout the 3 semesters, since a bigger portion of them are in this level, okay, we can assume that, okay, it is hoped that they will progress to the next 3 more levels, which are level 4, 5, and 6. Okay, now what are the indicators and the descriptors? Now, for level 3, students can give detailed descriptions on a wide range of subjects, not only limited to 1 or 2 familiar subjects, but more now compared to in level 2. Okay, in level 3 also, they can provide opinions and reasons on topical issues on various options. And they can also participate in discussion in familiar context using general academic language appropriately. Okay, some of the correct registers, whether they can use the correct registers or not in their presentation or in their speaking task. Okay, that's for level 3. Now, 4, 5, 6, the next one. Now, performance standard level 4. If your student is in this level, okay, they probably have shown some ability, that might lead them okay, to the next level, but not there yet. They're about to going to band 5 here. So band 4 is like the starting, you know. Band 3, sorry, I'm so used of saying band, sorry. Level 3, just the, how do you say, you're about to warm up your engine. You're already there, okay? You're just about to move to the next level. And when you're in level 4, you already have that ability, okay, to do all this, you know, 3. Can give detailed descriptions on a wide range of subjects with reasonable fluency. If you are an examiner for speaking, if you are very familiar with the assessment criteria for speaking, there's one section where we look at fluency, correct? Not under DM, okay? So you can use, you know, that background knowledge of the assessment criteria and adapt it to this description. How to know whether student is reasonably fluent when presenting their points. Okay, so you can use these, you know, knowledge that you have also. Okay. Next, they can provide opinions and reasons on topical issues by giving simple justification on various options. Okay, simple justification. Okay, give reasons, support their point. Okay, with relevant information. Okay, examples as well. Can participate in informal and formal discussion in familiar context using general academic language satisfactorily. Okay, how do we measure satisfactorily? I'm sorry, we do not have those specific indicators here, but these are basically just general descriptors in order for you to identify if your students are under level, you know, at certain level. And for this, satisfactorily is, you can see it under level 4. Okay. Next, performance standard level 5.
Madam, can I ask a question?
Yes, I am. Yes, carry on.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Tanyalah.
Enough for you to listen. All right. You talk about the assessment criteria for speaking just now.
Yeah.
For us to learn how to adapt to the new performance standard. So does it mean that we're not going to use that criteria anymore? So we're just going to refer to the standard for.
No. Oh yeah, I understand your question. Don't worry about it. These are just now we are still going to prepare our students for the MUAT test, and MUAT exam still exists, and it's still very important. So what I mean just now was, if you do have that what do you call that knowledge of the assessment criteria, right? I remember someone asking about earlier on how to know if that student is fluent or not. How fluent are they, in which band or which category they are. For this performance standard, it is placed under level 4, correct or not? But for the MUAT speaking test, okay, under the assessment criteria, you somehow have the indicator already. So you basically know somehow what kind of student, you know, who are fluent or not. All right. So yeah, I'm so sorry that we don't have a specific indicator under the performance standards for this new curriculum. But yeah, you can always use what knowledge that you have. Okay.
So it's like we can use the standard for us to plan what to teach, and then when we assess, we can always refer back to the criteria for assessment, right?
Yeah, no problem with that. Okay, you can also come up with your own assessment criteria, you know, by using this performance standard. Okay, adapt them right into your own performance. Maybe you can have that specific kind of performance standards for your school or for your panitia. Okay, yeah. Rather than just relying solely on that MUAT assessment criteria. Okay.
So with that in mind, would the current assessment criteria still be relevant for the new standard?
You mean the MUAT test?
Yeah. Or the
it is. Just bear in mind that the MUAT still exists. Okay, for this new PSELF, right? Their focus is no longer just exam oriented. We don't want the teachers to focus 100% only to prepare students for MUAT test. We want to expose our students with all these necessary skills, but at the same time, yes, they are sitting for MUAT. It's something like this, like all the Form 6 students, they sit for certain papers. For example, pengajian or geography, or what do you call other subject, correct or not? But at the end of the day, the exam that they are taking is STPA. So it's the same thing, like it's the same thing for us, for English, for Form 6. We are giving them all kinds of learning standards, all these under all these content standards for all skills. But at the end of the day, the exam that they are taking is still the performance standard is only for you to assess your students along the way, okay, during this semester. It can be a very, simple kind of assessment in the classroom and so on. Does that answer your question?
Yep, definitely. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. So I will continue. Where was I? Please, someone. Oh, I stopped just now. I forgot where I was. Was I in level 5 or level 6 now?
5. You're going at level 5.
Yeah, I'm almost going to level 6 now. So that's for performance standard level 5. All right, can give detailed description in a wide range of subject fluently. So if you see here fluently, if it is for MUAT, I would say band 4.5 and above. Okay. Can provide and expand opinions and reasons on topical issues by giving justifications on various options, and next can participate and sustain their point of view in informal and formal discussion in complex, unfamiliar context using appropriate academic language effectively. So band 5, basically, you get these kind of students who are very good. Not, I would say very good, but they are fluent. They can engage in a discussion well, okay, with not much, what do you call it, fluently, with ease, okay. They don't grow up anymore, okay. They don't get stuck. They don't hesitate anymore. So yeah, that's basically performance level 5. All right. And the next one, the last performance level, is performance level 6. Now, these descriptors meet those C1 level standard, okay, for CFR. All right. There are 4 descriptors here as compared to the other performance standards. Okay. For level 6, we have more descriptors. All right. The first one can give detailed descriptions on a wide range of subjects fluently and spontaneously. Okay. In the spur of moment, they can just, give their ideas. If you conduct like impromptu activities or speaking activities, they are able to do so with no problem. Okay. They can provide and expand opinions and reasons on topical issues by giving justification on various options with ease. No longer, having problems in delivering their ideas. Okay. Can participate and sustain point of view in informal and formal discussion in complex, unfamiliar context using appropriate academic language very effectively. Okay. The message is delivered clearly and effectively. Okay. Can display exemplary model of language use and guide others in a given task. Now, this one extra bonus point here, especially for those who are able to manage a discussion and get involved in a talk well, up from the starting towards the end. Okay, give them any impromptu question or topic, they can always, perform it well. Okay, that's for performance standard level 6. Now, there may be some students, okay, who have exceeded the level, okay, for example, level 6 and above. All right. However, we cannot assume that our students have reached C1 or C2 level, because these learning standards under this P-Self, they were not focusing on the criteria which are beyond C1. Okay, so we don't have that items for C1. Now, if you want to ask me whether, what if they are very good student then, who are way beyond this level 6, well, then they are good lah, all right? So meaning they pass that C1 level, right? But we cannot really say whether they are C2 or not because we don't have the descriptors. Okay, clear? Now, when do we use this performance standard? Related to that question earlier on just now. Now, performance, when do we use it? Like I said just now, you can conduct formative kind of assessment throughout the semesters. Maybe during lessons, you can come up with quizzes or class discussion or peer evaluations also can, okay? You can even get them involved in journal reflections and get them, to evaluate them. Or if not formative assessment, you can, the usual one that we have, there's summative, at the end of each semester or each month. It all depends on the school requirements. Maybe it also depends on the teacher's own plans. You can come up with your own assessment, okay? For example, some schools, they do have progress tests, final exams, or maybe standardized tests, okay? After end of each semester. So you can, if you don't test your student with the real MOET test paper, you can come up with your own assessment, okay? Then you can use this performance standard to help you, okay? You can use the descriptors to assess your students. Now, whatever your students, whatever tests your students take, it should, okay, or it should reflect their level, okay, if you refer closely to the performance standard and the descriptors given here. All right? Yeah, that's about it from me. Okay? Now I'm open to any kind of question. Questions?
Basically, the conclusion is the performance standard, we use it as PBD lah.
Yeah.
For example, for reading, if I already taught them main ideas, done a few exercises, I can give them a quiz on it.
Yeah.
That's where
you can have your own checklist also, as you conduct the assessment.
Because the skills are very specific, like reading for main points or getting spotting details. So basically, L6 is C1, right?
Sorry?
L6.
Yeah, basically L6, C1, yes.
Okay, if I were to, because we are more familiar with the MOET band, so L6, is it band 5 or what?
L6 is, if under MOET, it is band 5 plus.
Okay.
So
the rest below is accordingly. Like level 5 is 4.5 then? Level 4 is 4?
Yeah, it's somewhere there. Like just now I mentioned, what do you call it, performance level 2, is it? That one is more to A2 to B1. If you look at more overall score criteria, A2 and B1 is for band 2, okay? So
what
somewhere
about
there.
2.5 as well?
2 to 2.5 are somewhere there. Okay, I cannot really tell exactly which band, okay, because we were not given the official indicators for this.
Yeah,
we were basically given this, performance standards in general for you.
Yeah, for those who have been teaching more than 6 years, MOET, we miss the CEFR implemented in Form 1. So sometimes when you're B1, B2, we don't have a clear idea. But when you go for the MOET band, it's much clearer.
Yeah, it is, yeah. This is what they are trying to, to do, you know, for us. It will make our life easier because you must remember that the focus for the PSELF is for us to get our student to be at B2 for exit level. Okay, most of them are maybe B1, B1 plus when they enter from 6. But as they move along to, you know, throughout the 3 semesters, we hope that they have reached that B2, so that easier for us, you know, to see which level they are, which band they are actually from where.
But since y'all are still, redefining all this, right? It's not ready yet. You are giving us 3 different level. I mean, 3 different grading. First, there is the level. Okay, let's say the level they want to exit with a band 2, and in Muet that would be a band 4. You understand? That would be a level 3. Level 3 would be the exit level. Okay, level 4, let's say. Level 4 means CFR band 2 means Muet band 4. So,
I think performance standard level 1 is the lowest one, you know, and 6 is the highest.
so level 4 is band 4, isn't it?
Level 4 basically, yeah, band
Because you
4.
mentioned just now
3.5.
4.5 is a
Yeah,
level 4.
yeah,
Well,
3.5.
I mean, yeah. So now maybe you just use. Why not just link it to Muet? It's easier, don't you think
Yeah,
so?
isn't it?
Don't
That
have
was
this.
our question earlier on also, yeah. I
Don't
mean,
have the.
why confuse us with, you know, a new
Yeah.
form of
Don't. No,
performance standards?
I was thinking just exclude the CFR. I know there are some teachers who just joined into Muet, so they are familiar with all this, but we were not teaching CFR.